I forgot the music. Oh, my bad, y'all. Hey, I'm here. We talking about Robert Brooks. Robert Brooks is the guy, the prisoner that was fatally beaten by 14 officers, Macy County. That is in New York. I uploaded the video earlier this morning. So today, right now, I want to discuss it. Now come on in. I'm here. I'm here, y'all. Hey, y'all. We're gonna cover this Robert Brooks story. Like I said, if y'all didn't see the video, it is up on my playlist. Well, I'm not gonna say playlist, community wall. The video is silent, the audio, because they didn't have the audio player. So I just, me and a few other people early this morning, get in there and we watched it. This is a story that is not really getting out there. This just happened. I want to say it happened December the 9th. And they just released the video December the 27th, all 2024. This recently just happened. I have a picture of the guy before he was beat. I think I did upload that. If I didn't, I will try to find it. Let me stop the music. Pause. This is something that I think a lot of people should cover, because I don't know what made the Attorney General or who turned in this video. I'm glad they did turn that video in, because to be honest, they could have made it look like that man committed suicide, because they had his arms tied back. They even tied his legs. They even stuck something down his throat. I mean, the way when I watched the video, I don't want to watch it again, is that graphic. Viewer discretion is advised. That's the worst beating I ever seen any correction officers do on a human being, especially an African American brother. So what I want to do, I want to cover some of the news coverage and what they saying about this. So with further ado, let's get to it. Let me put my disclaimer. Okay, there we got that going. This is the worst I ever seen. It's terrible. It make you like, I can't even watch it no more. I seen enough. This is the protesters out there. They did a rally in front of the prison that Robert Brooks, I'm gonna call him Mr. Brooks. He resigned in the prison. He was doing 12 years for assault, some kind of assault on a woman. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what he's in prison for, the way he was treated. They removed him from the prison to their hospital and literally physically beat that man to his death. And obviously they must have been getting away with things like that, because I feel like if y'all was openly able to do it with the body cameras, remind y'all, it's over 20 officers. Each view, they have like 4 or 5 different views of each officer beating the mess out this man with their body cameras on. And to me, they need to check out anybody that ever been in this prison that either passed away or they said hung themselves. Hey, lounge. They need to check any and everybody that ever passed away and that went to this prison, that was housed in this prison. I saw the other video and they did that man so wrong. Yes, they did. They did him crucially wrong. And I don't care I don't care what he in jail for. They did him wrong. So I do want to show what I'm doing today. I just want to discuss it. Like I said, I did the video. So now I want to see what the news, what the media think about it. I think they have some family members speaking on it. Like I said, I'm just gonna randomly pull up different videos and let's see what the news have to say and what people have to say. And this is something that they were going to probably throw up under the bus, but somebody reported their asses. So let's hit play.
For years and decades, they murdering inmates in the penitentiary for years and getting away with it. They telling the family, we found your son like this, we investigate. And they will tell them the same thing for the next 20 years, every time they call up to find out what happened to their family member.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up.
Robert Brooks! Say his name! Robert Brooks! What's his name? Robert Brooks! Say his name! Robert Brooks! No justice? No peace! No justice? No peace!
This is from our colleague there at Fox 5 New York, Linda Schmidt, with body camera footage there. I mean, now remember, viewer discretion is advised. She says upstate prisoner beaten to death. Correction officers' body cam videos were released today by Letitia James in the death of Robert Brooks at the Marcy Correctional Facility. And Hochul has issued a statement as well. It says 14 people will be fired over this.
I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean? We've seen plenty of times of the situations that happen in Rikers, all the people that lose their lives and all this. It's not just the prison systems, it's all these facilities. You know what I mean? These facilities are not, we already see they're not here to rehabilitate us. You know what I mean? They're here to do exactly what they're doing. You know what I mean? Make us worse off than what we are so we can come right back in that motherfucker. Yeah. They don't treat us like human beings in there. You know what I mean? We treat worse than animals. Living conditions, everything like that. We're constantly framed. What happened to Robert Brooks is the only reason why it's big time is because this man lost his life and it's on video. Best believe we get our ass kicked like that in them systems, in them jails every day. It's an everyday basis we're jumped on like that. The everyday basis we're jumped on like that. It doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? This one just got big because this man died and it was on video. You understand that? It's not these people that don't die. It's just like, you know what I mean? Nobody falls on deaf ears because nobody cares about what goes on to us inside them systems. You know what I mean? Behind them walls. I'm currently right now being framed by the NYPD. You know what I mean? Never left the sidewalk, but I'm being framed with burglary and arson charges. And they, you know what I mean? Just to put me in one of those kind of situations. Because as soon as I walk through the door, you know what I mean? I'm getting pressed by cops because they already see my face and shit on TV. And it's as soon as I walk through the door, you know what I mean? I'm handcuffed. And the officer, the first thing he say out of his mouth, what he says, who want to shoot the fade with? Who want to shoot the fade? Who want to shoot the fair one? Who want to shoot the fair one? Show them how we do it up in here. And it's just, I guess, because they see me on TV and shit like that or whatever, or see how I act towards the cops. But this is what I'm saying. Like, we get provoked in there. People were asking me, I wonder what he did but the man is handcuffed. But people were asking me, well, I wonder what he did, like even wondering what it, but a kid.
See, that's what I just said. It doesn't matter what that man did. He was handcuffed. And then if you really look and see, I like going to details. Like I like looking and studying the video. They actually took something and wrapped his legs up as well. And the same thing they wrapped his legs up with, they took it off his legs because the other angle of the body cam shows them stuffing it down his mouth. Let's continue. This is terrible. This I feel this, man. I feel for all the African American men that goes to prison that been trying to warn the system. This is what's happening in our system. Oh, y'all ain't nothing but another statistic. Y'all another number. Y'all prisoner. Ain't nobody gonna listen to y'all prisoners. Wow. It doesn't matter what that man in jail for. They did him crucial. And like I said, they need to open up a whole lot of investigations with this prison.
Kiss my ass, of saying no the wrong way, of being looked at the wrong way. You know what I mean? You can look at them the wrong way and they jump on you like that, bro. You know? When I was in there, you know, I had a friend I was talking about that lived in my area and shit that you know, he said the wrong thing to the cops and they jumped on him, they gave him, pressed the button and beat him up while he was in the shower. Then on top of that, the whole argument was off a book. They ripped his book up and threw it in his cell. You know what I'm saying? It's shit like that goes on to us in there. You know what I mean? These people are not there to help us. These and they talking about it was a gang assault. It was a gang assault. And now we out here, right here in front of the AG office. You know what I mean? The Attorney General. We're gonna keep putting the heat on Kathy Hochul, the governor. You know what I mean? To get these guys arrested and fired. They I don't know if they fired, but they need to be arrested. They need charges because them just being fired does absolutely nothing. They're in the police union. They're going to get another job doing the same fucking shit.
And I hear what he's saying. Oh, right now they are on leave without pay. Okay, that doesn't mean, okay, y'all on leave without pay. But guess what? Y'all can go to another state, a county, and get the same daggone job. Y'all need to be in prison. Y'all, to me, this face electric chair type shit.
You know what I mean? So this is what we're doing. We out here putting pressure, and this is how everybody can help us out by calling and putting pressure, blowing this up. You know what I mean? I know the AG was the one who put it out there for us to see, but now we're putting pressure on her to like take it to the extra step. You know what I mean? Don't show us that shit for nothing. Like we want to see these politicians actually put themselves on the line and start going hard like we do, like they're going for us. You know what I mean? If these people are here to govern us and make sure they're doing the best for us, we need to see that shit. We need to see it. You know what I mean? And just enraging us and not nothing comes behind it. You know what I mean? This is what we out here for. This is with this pressure. And I hope it opens people's eyes to what goes on in all these facilities that's holding us. All these facilities. It doesn't have to just be prison. You know what I mean? It's worse than you see Rikers, right? People, how many people died? You know what I mean? To the point they don't even want to talk about it no more. To the point they're not even gonna put that out there no more. You know that? They changed the laws, or they won't tell you how many people are getting killed or dying up in Rikers.
And Letitia James had viewed these things, right? And she reviewed this recent barbaric murder by robbers, and nobody's being arrested. She's talking about it's being investigated. Investigate what? You blind? Are you blind?
No justice.
Are you blind?
No justice.
Are you blind?
No justice. No peace.
Are you blind?
No justice.
Are you blind? Letitia James, are you blind? Are you really blind? Investigating what? Now this is the deal. This been going on for years and decades. They murdering inmates in the penitentiary for years and getting away with it. They telling the family, we found your son like this, we're investigating. And they will tell them the same thing for the next 20 years every time they call up to find out what happened to their family member. Now understand this. Everybody upstate, most of the people working in there, they're family related. The coroners, the police, the sheriff, the chief, everybody is related.
On that note, what he just said, he said everybody that was in there is really pretty much related. The doctor, the coroner's office, coroner people, detective. It's a small town. Now I can believe him when he said everybody in that was in that room related, because I seen two young white males. After they realized one had on a black hoodie, the other one had on a tan hoodie. Because I kept looking like, what the hell they standing in the hallway for? Why they still waiting in that hallway? Then I realized the one in the tan hoodie, he might be a nurse or a doctor, but he had on regular clothes because he went to check the man's pulse to actually, I guess, notify. Yep, he unalive at this time. I thought that was strange. A young boy to go in there and check the man's pulse. I mean, that's how I looked. I studied the video.
The medical examiner, all that. So they ain't going against each other. Not at all. When I was in Comstock, they had correction officers walking around with tattoos, hold up, tattoos, right? With babies, black babies on it, with a rope around their neck. Walking around like that. They got a sergeant called Sergeant Slap a Nigga. I was assaulted in the library, and he told me, and he had 5 officers in the room, a small room. He said, if you say one more thing about my officer doing something to you, I'll jump over this desk and slap the hell out of you for about an hour. No justice, no peace. No peace.
What I want to say is this, we had a lot of power on these platforms many years ago, the Close Rikers Island campaigns and things of that nature. And right now we're suffering because all that money and our powers in the movement is no longer here. And right now it's showing that this money and power wasn't used to protect us, because right now in 2024, going to 2025, we got a brother named Robert Brooks that's no longer here with us. And this is a testament to our movement, what we've been doing all this time, how you're putting all these systems and organizations together. Right now, this is actually showing us, when we're looking at social justice, that social justice hasn't gone nowhere fast. When we're looking at restorative justice hasn't even moved as well. We look at the penal systems and the nonprofits and the advocacy organizations that come together to bring forth this change. We have not made a dent within the legislation of the laws because we're still being unalive within the Department of Corrections. Whether it may be the prison systems or the state prisons, we're still the subject of harm, even though we have all these different laws and all these different policies in places and all these different leaders in place, but we're still on the chopping block. We're still losing our lives. At the end of the day, Robert Brooks was denied due process. That's what he was denied, due process. We're not talking about what crime he committed, how long he was dead, and what he did. We're talking about the due process that was denied for his life because another man or other men felt that the power to take his life when they had nothing to do with his due process. None of those men that's in that building that took that man's life are judges or lawyers or politicians or anything of that nature to override due process that was actually initiated to that man by the court systems. This is serious business right here, guys. This is not a game. What they have done to Robert Brooks, they do to us. I was also in Marcy Correctional Facility. I could also have been that victim on that table, handcuffed, choked out, stomped out, dragged through the floor, and treated like an animal. I could have also been that same man.
Speaking from experience, speaking about the corruption that I've lived through, speaking here alongside individuals who also are experiencing these corruptions, not only through the jail population of Rikers Island, but through the state population of New York State Department of Correction and Community Supervision, living through that abuse, being, like the Reverend stated, handcuffed and dragged through undocumented parts of buildings, like Fishkill Correctional Facility, for example. In the B West unit, there's a abandoned mess hall on the west side of the building, of the 21 building, that's not accessible to the population, that's not even supposed to be utilized by the Department of Corrections, but we are being handcuffed, dragged through those hallways to an empty mess hall, being abused with sergeants that are of leadership that are putting it together alongside with the medical staff. These are individuals who, while we get beat, stand aside by the officers while individuals are being abused, doing nothing, writing off reports, medical reports throughout the city and state. This is a national crisis. There are individuals across the nation. In Nevada in 2024 alone, 19 individuals. No, I'm so sorry, not Nevada. Nevada had 2. Missouri had 19 individuals who were deceased in 2024 alone. This is a national issue. Shame. Shame. We need to bring more light as a global leader, the United States of America. We lead the way. There are countries around the world where I can't fathom the amount of abuse that happens, like Iran, China, other nations. Are they allies of the United States? As a global leader, I would like to hear answers from the United Nations, as well as Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York State.
I'm the founder of the National Innocence Project Music and Art Ministry. I did 32 long years in prison for a crime I didn't perpetrate. I witnessed a homicide, and I chased the suspect 2 miles. The interviewing officer, he's the one that framed me in 1985. I had graduated from the police academy. I wasn't a snitch. I did what I was trained to do. The police who took the crime scene photos, they knew that that so-called eyewitness that they made a deal with could not have humanly made a positive idea of me or the people they said we did. They released one of the females in that case, right? And her transcripts of her dismissal case was thrown out, stolen. The victims, it was a cab murder. The victims' clothing and DNA and all the evidence was destroyed. They had an imposter come in and lie at my jury and told them that they couldn't take fingerprints of the surface of the cab. I had an argument with the judge and told the judge I didn't want the lawyer to represent me because he refused to give me the documents pertaining to the case. I didn't get the documents pertaining to the case. And I found out that this guy who was perpetrating an imposter as the fingerprint technician, they did find fingerprints, but they didn't match me or the person. But they claimed that all was got in this man's cab. Right around the corner from the homicide took place, there's a train station. Where they found this man's cab about a mile away, there's no train, no transportation, or nothing. They have nothing to put me at the scene of that crime. Okay, now, I had witnessed that homicide. I chased the suspect 2 miles, right? Okay, now, that officer, he was trying to extrapolate information from me to write his own story. And I commented about it. He said, well, you're the victim's pimp. I said, I'm not a pimp. I work for the sanitation department, and my wife is a registered nurse. I don't want to talk to you no more. He got disgruntled and went into a file cabinet and took a legal photograph of me. And that happened in 1982. 1985, right? They framed me, right? And they beat me up, trying to say that I saw these 2 people perpetrate this crime for my release. I went to 7 parole boards saying I didn't do it. They got to implement saying if you got to show remorse. An innocent man cannot show remorse because he's going to go in there and say that he didn't do it. I have what you call, I put together a guerrilla legislation because for the 5 years I've been going to these rallies and stuff like that, they're talking about accountability. We're just talking about how many degrees and that they have. I'm PhD in political science and justice. I'm a lawyer, but they're not coming up with solutions. But I got a guerrilla. I entitled my legislation, guerrilla law legislation of Reverend Keith Gatson. 1, the eradication of qualified immunity. 2, the eradication of all government internal investigations because they'll cover up for each other. 3, legislation law that will compel accountability that enforces A, criminal arrest. B, loss of pensions that stem from arrest or compel resignations or terminations. Because if you hit them in the pocket and they know they're going to jail, they're going to stop their people from doing all these crimes. And they won't be taking inmates out of the population and taking them to an unknown destination in the nighttime, hog-tied, handcuffed from the feet and the hands from behind the back, and lay them up in the room, and just savagely beat the man, barbarically, putting stuff out in his face and all kinds of stuff. And we are paying taxes. Hold up. Let me finish this, right? The eradication, 4. The eradication of parole commissioners' remorseful implement criteria for possible parole release consideration at parole board hearings, etc. And the eradication of law enforcement job hopping. Okay, this initiative is a solution for the eradication of the historical atrocities of wrongful convictions and murder by law enforcement officers. This initiative is for urgent support from clergy masons, grassroots organizations, elected officials, and citizens to help eradicate the proliferation of wrongful convictions and blatant barbaric acts of murder by law enforcement agencies. This initiative stems historically from George Floyd's blatant murder and other law enforcement atrocities, atrocious acts of murders that demonstrated nonchalant recorded video murders and other historical atrocities of the past. Even more disturbing is the recent acquittal in the Daniel Penny murder trial that created a continuing open season for the latest corrections officers' murder, irrespectively of knowing that they were being videoed, believing that it's open season and having nothing to worry about. In addition, the latest barbaric act of murder.
You heard what he said. They literally was videotaping this. They were with their body cameras. And it was like normal. Hey, we ain't got nothing to worry about. Shit. We got it on tape. Guess what? Everybody in this system gonna back us up. That's how I looked at like. So to me, it made me really believe that this happened before.
By correction officers of Robert Brooks while handcuffed by hands and feet may have not transpired if Reverend Gadsden's guerrilla legislation proposal was enacted into law. The initiative should not be limited to New York State, New York City, but throughout the United States and global, around the world. Wherever there's a lockup judicial system, they need to implement this to protect the citizens or whoever's been arrested.
Guys, there's a phenomenal pattern taken against us. We need to understand what this pattern is. You know, what is actually happening with us, right? The sentence that we get from the court system of going to, like, say, a medium correctional facility or minimum or maximum correctional facility actually turn into a death sentence. We have to look at this. How does it turn into a death sentence when none of these entities have the death penalty? New York City does not have a death penalty, so how do these instances turn into the death sentences? We need to understand this. What is the culture of the Department of Corrections that we're not seeing in real time? We need to see the culture. We need to see the transparency of that culture. We need to not basically eradicate that culture. We destroy that culture from one end of the room to the next, right? We're not friends with systems and cultures and harm and trauma. We're here to eradicate harm, trauma, any system that's associated to it. We don't care what your name is, how long you've been around, what you've been doing. What's actually happening now is that there's a system in place that we're not being protected by. Whatever the system is a bad look for us on a social level. It's a bad look for us on a social justice level, restorative justice level, or any other level that's actually taking place. There's no nonprofits out here supporting us. There's no big advocacy move that we've been supporting for the last 10 years out here actually supporting us right now in this movement. There's no politicians out here right now supporting this movement of our falling. This is our falling. We have to take care of ourselves and know what these policies are that they're using within the Department of Corrections and also their prison systems, because they're creating new prisons every day, right? And when they create those prisons, all those prisons connected to humanitarian values and principles is what we want to know. Can we heal from your prison systems? Can we change our lives from your prison systems? You got antiquated books in there, antiquated programs, antiquated trainings for people to come out here doing the right thing and live just life, but all the things you got in there is antiquated. Your policies, your belief systems, your value systems, they're not for us. We need to find out what's going on with their laws and their policies and get them to change it.
Hi there, my name's Anthony Dolce. I'm founder of the Stop False News Reporting Group. I started my organization in October 2020, inspired by my wrongful arrest. Fortunately, I was not wrongfully convicted for a crime I didn't commit.
Shame. Shame.
And it is 5 years later, and the people who committed these crimes against me and my husband have not been held accountable. So I know what it is about the rich and powerful and government agency and police officers not being held accountable for their actions. Our tax-paying dollars paid for the murder of Robert Brooks.
That ain't right.
It is a shame. It is a shame. An absolute shame. What does this say about our criminal justice system? Racist, favoring the rich and the powerful, but not the marginalized people in our society. It must end. The impunity of violence towards our marginalized community must end and be held accountable. Where are the elected officials? Why are these officers at home with their families while we stand here shouting for justice for Robert Brooks? We're going to keep fighting every single day until we get justice for the Robert Brooks and their family.
I be forgetting to unmute myself, my bad. But yeah, I said, I want to know what the people out there in the world think about this. It's sad. That man ain't get a chance. He ain't have a chance. I mean, he couldn't even defend himself if he wanted to. He was tied up. He was tied up. Arms behind his back. Legs tied up. Then they try to stick some down his throat. That's crazy. Well, let's see about this one. Let's see. I already shared. Let's see. Play.
We're tracking breaking news tonight video that clearly shows at least 12 strikes or punches to a man who's handcuffed.
Oh, there,
Robert Brooks had just been transferred to Marcy Correctional from another facility on the day of the assault. Part of the video you will soon see shows a corrections officer using a boot to kick Brooks, who's handcuffed with a bloody face. It happened Monday, December 9th. Robert Brooks, who was convicted of assault outside Rochester, died at the hospital in Utica the next day, December 10th. His death only became public Sunday the 15th, when it was announced by the state corrections commissioner that an inmate had died after use of force by staff at Marcy. Robert Brooks was identified as that inmate the next day, December 16th. Days later, on the 23rd, the governor called for the firing of 14 people implicated in his death. All told, the state attorney general released nearly 2 hours of body cam footage from 4 separate cameras. Now, we'll walk you through the violence moment by moment. Robert Brooks' family has seen parts of it and called it horrific and devastating, and it is.
What the body cam video shows has been widely condemned for its shocking violence. It begins after 9 o'clock at night, Monday, December 9th, on secure property outside Marcy Correctional. There is no sound because the cameras were in standby mode and not activated by the law enforcement officers wearing them. 43-year-old Robert Brooks, handcuffed behind his back, appears to be lifted off the ground and carried by his arms. Less than a minute later, inside the prison infirmary, which is getting crowded with more prison staff. When we see Robert Brooks's face for the first time, it's bloody. Then the video shows 2 punches, the first of many.
I do not take lightly the release of this video, especially in the middle of the holiday season. But as Attorney General, I release these videos because I have a responsibility and duty to provide the Brooks family, their loved ones, and all New Yorkers with transparency and accountability.
After 2 apparent punches, Robert Brooks's head is visibly wobbly. He's being held up by 2 correction officers. There is more struggle on the infirmary table, and an officer appears to deliver another strong punch. Less than a minute later, 3 more successive blows to the back of the inmate's body. Less than 15 seconds later, a correction officer is seen rubbing Brooks's chest and sternum area. And while the intent is not clear, a sternum rub is a painful stimulus used to assess the responsiveness of someone who may be unconscious. Eventually, Brooks is put into leg restraints. When Brooks is pulled up to a seated position, the video clearly shows he's unsteady, barely able to stay upright without assistance. Even though the video is silent, the next blow is excruciating to watch. Brooks is not struggling. We don't know what's being said, but we see a windup, right-hand punch to the midsection. To get him to his feet, prison staff yank him by the collar. Then he's shoved against a wall. In a hallway outside, other staff members are seen listening to what's happening, one of them clearly smiling or laughing about something.
Excuse me now. You see, when I said it was 2 guys in that hallway, I kept figuring like, why are these 2 young men in the hallway? Who are they? They were smiling. They were sitting there waiting until Mr. Brooks. Well, waiting until the correction officers, get done beating Mr. Brooks, and then they walked in the room. And the one in the tan, checked his pulse. I'm like, who is these young guys? So let's see. Let me see if they tell us who these young guys are.
In the room, Robert Brooks is lifted straight up off the ground by 2 officers. Then Brooks is back on the infirmary bed. He is stripped of his pants, now in underwear. He is no longer handcuffed. He is no longer moving.
As Attorney General, you have my word that we will use every possible tool available to us to investigate this death thoroughly and swiftly.
The body camera videos show a roughly 10-minute interaction from outside the correctional facility to inside, in the point where you just saw Robert Brooks on the bed in his underwear. 14 Corrections Department employees, 2 sergeants, 10 correction officers, and a nurse have been suspended. The governor is trying to have them fired. Tonight,
So they suspended. I know it's an update on that. Because suspension, they can, well, this is not justified. This is throughout murder. I don't care if 1 or 2 of the officers did it. To me, every last one of them that was in that room should be charged. Did he mess on him? I don't think so. I don't even think the man, it's crazy. I don't even want to show that video. It's just weird. And see, when you look at it for real, when you look it up, you really don't see too many people talking about it. Okay, here go the family. Let's see what the family say. I might have. It's wow. I couldn't even imagine seeing that going on. The man was in there for 12. I don't even know how long he'd been in there, but I know he was only supposed to do 12 years. So let's see. Let's see what the family say. Let me make sure I got everything right. Okay. It's sad. Let's see. Hit play.
Top story tonight. The father and son of 43-year-old Robert Brooks joined by hundreds outside the Monroe County Jail to honor his life. 13 Wham Stephen Pappas brings us the latest from tonight's vigil as the calls for answers grow.
Yeah, Karen, it was a celebration of life outside the Monroe County Jail for Robert Brooks as loved ones and community members send a clear message demanding accountability and change.
A Rochester family is reeling after the death of 43-year-old Robert Brooks.
His killing must be a catalyst for change. Justice must be served.
Brooks's son and father joined by hundreds for a vigil outside the Monroe County Jail to honor his life and bring light to the events leading up to his death. In body camera video released by the state attorney general, correctional officers can be seen beating a restrained Brooks at the Marcy Correctional Facility in Oneida County. His father devastated and outraged.
When you can stand around and watch a man get beat to death, wait your turn to hopefully administer the fatal blow, that's evil.
Brooks was halfway through serving a 12-year assault sentence that he received in Monroe County.
They denied my damn son a second chance.
Yes.
They denied him the second chance to be the best him he was capable of being.
Hundreds came together outside the Monroe County Jail calling for change.
This man was handcuffed and drugged in just like he was a piece of meat and thrown on a table and beaten to death. And then they hid it for weeks.
Those at Monday's rally showing support to people incarcerated in the Monroe County Jail by flashing lights at them. The prisoners responding by doing the same.
As of today, the Attorney General's office says no charges have been filed. The Justice Department is also reviewing this case. Karen?
Back now to our top story tonight. The father and son of 43-year-old Robert Brooks joined by hundreds outside.
Thank you. I know they got to be charged. Like I said, I'm trying to do the update, but I don't see anything really on it. And the man had family, so we see that. We do see he had family. And they literally, they're gonna have to open up more investigations about what's going on in that correctional facility. And Mr. Brooks, I really, I feel so bad. Let's see, we got something else right here. And I'm gonna try my best to keep up with this because, if for real, I want to see what they're gonna do with the officers. Because to me, they should be charged with murder, not manslaughter. None of that. That's clearly murder. They murdered that man. Let's see what she say.
We don't need any more Robert Brooks or nobody else or the unknown coming forward being beaten to death by the police. Never. Oh my God.
Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers.
This is from our colleague there at Fox 5 New York, Linda Schmidt, with body camera footage there. I mean, remember, viewer discretion is advised. She says upstate prisoner beaten to death. Correction officers' body cam videos were released today by Letitia James in the death of Robert Brooks at the Marcy Correctional Facility. And Hochul has issued a statement as well. It says 14 people will be fired over this.
My name is Ariana. I'm from the December 12th movement, and we're out here today outside of Governor Kathy Hochul's office because Robert Brooks was killed. Robert Brooks was lynched. Robert Brooks was murdered by 14 New York State correctional officers, 13 New York State correctional officers, and 1 medical staff at the Marcy Correctional State Facility in upstate New York. We're calling this press conference because we want people to know that Kathy Hochul, that the New York State Department of Corrections, and that those in power have blood on their hands. They have Robert Brooks's blood on their hands. They have Jordan Neely's blood on their hands. We are holding this press conference to ensure that those who are responsible for the lynching of Robert Brooks are held accountable. Because the murder of Jordan Neely at the hands of Daniel Penny, he was not held responsible for that murder that took place on our subway system. But we are out here to ensure that all 14 of these racist animals are held accountable for what they did to Robert Brooks.
We understand that what happened to Robert Brooks is not an aberration, but an extreme example of what inmates of color face on a daily basis in the New York State prison system. Its goal, as it was on slave plantations, is to instill fear of and submission to authority in the minds of the prisoners. Our elected representatives, Governor Hochul and New York State Attorney General James, have spouted rhetoric about the firing and prosecution of the 13 corrections officers and one nurse involved. But to date, nothing has happened.
We learned from our mistakes with the Jordan Neely case. Daniel Penny is walking these streets free. We learned our mistake. We weren't in the streets the way that we needed to be to ensure that a white supremacist vigilante was held responsible for the murder of an innocent Black man. So I want to make sure y'all heard. We are prepared to shut this city down by any means necessary. We will shut this city down. We will shut it down if we do not see that all 14 of those white supremacists, all 14 of those people that were in that room and had a hand in watching or acting on Robert Brooks's lynching, if they are not held accountable, if they are not immediately fired, if they are not indicted, and if they are not put behind bars, we will shut this city down.
I am Sharon Salam. Most people call me Yusef Salam's mother, but I have my own identity, and that is Sharon Salam with Justice for the Wrongfully Incarcerated. It was horrifying seeing the news and on Facebook and on Twitter, all those police beating up on that poor, unfortunate handcuffed man. It's something when you see it in your face. Nobody is hiding what happened. Nobody has been arrested. If some of us had beat up somebody in the street, we'd be in jail now, and the investigation would be going on later, but we'd still be in jail. We need accountability. We need it now. We need to bring back the feeling that there is justice in our police department on all levels. Right now, people in our communities are afraid of the police because you don't know what they're going to do. They're out of control. They're walking around with a badge of immunity that says, yes, I can kill, I can shoot, I can harm, I can do whatever it is I want to do and go free while people investigate and prove my innocence, and I prepare for my pension so that I can retire in full immunity of what's going on. That has to change. We don't need any more Robert Brooks or nobody else or the unknown coming forward being beaten to death by the police. Not never. Not ever. Oh my God. It hurts my father. Totally understand. Totally understand.
Straight edge, straight edge. Justice for who?
Robert Brooks.
Justice for who?
Robert Brooks. You teach someone how to treat you by what you tolerate. And what happened to Robert Brooks is intolerable. 14 prison staff members are guilty are engaged in murder. 14 prison staff members have carried on a tradition of American terrorism. 14 prison staff members have engaged in a prison torture that has ended in the death of a Black man. And to tolerate that is to teach America that Black life can be devalued. Daniel Penny was just acquitted for killing Jordan Neely on the train. And if we let this go, then we show that our humanity is just a plaything. We will not be entering 2025 asking a racist capitalist system whether or not it can recognize if our Black life matters, because that's the wrong start to a conversation at a table that we shouldn't be concerned with sitting at. We will be entering 2025 as part of a long tradition, a long Black political tradition that takes our humanity as a given and stands up to defend it. 2025 is the year of self-defense. 2025 is the year we exercise our sovereign right to defend our humanity. And President Trump should not be our main concern in 2025. We've seen him before in corporate suits. We've seen him in NYPD blue. We've seen him in white sheets. He's just another head of a racist, violent, exploitative system. And we need to be worried about what we are going to do. Yes, sir. Because like I said, it's what you tolerate.
Again, I'm State Senator Jabari Brisport. I represent a Senate district in the People's Republic of Brooklyn. Yeah. I want to start by thanking December 12th movement, all of you, for your consistent and clear calls for justice and uplifting of our community, and the pure recognition that a threat and an injustice to a Black person anywhere is a threat to Black people everywhere. So I'm out here in solidarity with you because, like you, my heart is broken by, yet again, another video of a Black man being publicly lynched by white men, white workers of the state, who have yet to face any repercussions. We are sick and tired of seeing this happen again and again, with the perpetrators getting off scot-free. That's right. That's right. Now, CNN just obtained some court documents that show that 3 of the officers had previous charges of assault, previous accusations of assault. So to Governor Kathy Hochul, why were those 3 men still on payroll at your Department of Corrections? Now, I was a public school teacher before I was a state senator. Do y'all think public school teachers stay on payroll if they're accused of assault? Hell no. Do y'all think nurses stay on payroll if they're accused of assault? No. Why were these corrections officers still on payroll? And look where we are. That's why we need to make these demands, because the history shows that if we don't put the pressure on, they will stay there in those positions and continue to do the harm. That's right. I stand in solidarity with the demands to fire the individuals and have them face the full consequences of their actions. Right. We demand justice, and we demand justice now. Yeah. Straight ahead.
Yeah. You know, as ready as ever when the time comes to take these streets and shut this town down for justice for Robert Brooks. Y'all all right with that? Yeah. Y'all understand that? Yeah. I would also suggest one modification or addition to the demands. Everywhere there's any kind of law enforcement operation, there should be a civilian oversight component to oversee their situation, to oversee their management. And the little bit that we got now needs to be strengthened with disciplinary force and with full subpoena powers, not to be weakened in any wishy-washy way that we've been seeing over the years. The call that was made years ago in the 1960s for community control of the police, that call is as relevant today as ever. And that also includes corrections officers in these prisons where they treat our people like animals and dogs and do what they did to Robert Brooks. Right.
Robert Brooks should be alive right now. But we keep allowing this system to eat our people. We keep allowing the correctional facilities, the government, the state, Catherine Hochul, and every single elected official that does not stand up for Black life, that sits and signs all these fucking executive, excuse my language, executive orders, that says we're gonna cooperate with the new Orange Menace or the old Orange Menace, that's gonna line up with white supremacy and death, that says that this police department, that the New York State Correctional Facility, that Kathy Hochul and Mayor Adams are not guilty of killing Robert Brooks. Guilty. The blood is on their hands, but the responsibility is in our hands. We gotta shut this city down. Shut this city down. Shut this city down. And newsflash, if you're out there thinking that you, coming from formerly enslaved nations, newsflash, if you're coming from somewhere where they allow you to think that you're white because you speak Spanish and you can put it on your form, they're coming to kill you too. They're coming to kill all of us together with legislation, with smiles. We're talking about, watch what happens in a little while. All our elected officials suddenly going to be anti-fascist. But fascism exists in this system right now. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican or whatever party. They're all aligned with Robert Brooks' murder, and we must stop them right now.
Black people in this country still represent a domestic colony. And if we don't surrender willingly, then they will continue to murder us. They will continue to kill us violently. Let's examine the facts. Reminiscent of the Casual Killing Act, they attempted to murder the
Okay, I got another one, and this is gonna be the last one. This is supposed to be his autopsy. I haven't synced it, but again, like I said, we hear about it here and there, but we never actually seen it. With the cameras on, with these officers, they can't get away with this, and I'm surprised they're not up there like really riding in New York. Because this is crazy. So let's see what this man say. Let me make sure I share it. Crazy. I was shocked. My mouth was dropped, y'all, when I said, nobody talking about this? Nobody? Oh, wow. And this just happened? So let's hit play and see what he say.
Continuing coverage now of the death investigation into Greece native and former inmate Robert Brooks. In court paperwork referencing the autopsy of Brooks, which is not yet available in its entirety, there are details about his multiple injuries from an attack by more than a dozen Marcy Correctional Facility correction officers and staff. Isabel Garcia breaks down what that paperwork tells us.
Yes, the paperwork is called an Emergency Risk Protection Order, which was filed by New York State Police against one of the corrections officers accused in Robert Brooks's assault. The details of the autopsy were used as supporting evidence in the application, this due to concern the individual, in this case David Kingsley, may harm himself or another. He was allegedly part of a group of a total of 14 individuals engaged in an assault on Robert Brooks on December 9th at the infirmary at Marcy Correctional. Brooks died at a Utica hospital the next day. In the protection application, it is noted the autopsy of Brooks was conducted at the Onondaga Medical Examiner's office on December 11th. It was determined Brooks suffered multiple bruises on his face and arms and legs, a fractured nasal bone, multiple soft tissue bleeding in his neck on both the left and right sides, as well as bleeding in the genitalia area. Now, the medical examiner also reported concerns for asphyxia, this due to compression of the neck, as well as Brooks's death due to actions of another. It also makes note the final cause and manner of death are still pending at this time. Now, once again,
Murder.
this information was part of an application for extreme risk protection for one of the corrections officers, David Kingsley, named to be involved in the assault. Meantime, family of Robert Brooks held a vigil last night in Rochester with his surviving son, Robert Brooks Jr., saying the family is hopeful his death was not in vain and will be a, quote, catalyst for change, end quote. For now, reporting in the studio, Isabel Garcia, News 8.
All right, that's what I want to see. I want to see what they had on the autopsy. But I'm gonna go ahead and end the live because I got some stuff to do in the back at home. I do appreciate y'all coming up. Oop, look at me. I'm froze. How in the hell I'm froze? That's an ugly freeze too. Could y'all hear me? Because I'm definitely froze. Let's see. Let me try that again. Nope, I don't know. I'm froze back there. But anyway, thank you. Let me see, what's tomorrow? So Monday. Okay, Monday, I'm gonna upload some police videos. Like I said, I don't know what time, but I will be doing that tomorrow. Probably around 2. I'm gonna try to keep it around the same time, 2:45. And these will be police shootings. And again, I appreciate everybody coming through. Like I said, this is what I want to do. I'm going to keep focusing on my news coverage. And then if any update come up with Robert Brooks, I will immediately, if I'm not at work and I'm not busy, I will definitely keep y'all updated with that for sure. So other than that, thanks for coming in. Peace out.